Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale with your favorite guest, my favorite guest. It's Tag, back in the house. What's up, Tag? How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, Ash? How's it going, man?
It is going very well, dude. We are back and we have a new version of Minor Poison Cycle. This is, the last time you've been on the channel, it's been Graveyard decks. So it's nice to have you back, back with your go-to, Minor Poison.
Yeah, man, Bandit got a buff, and this deck is actually viable again. I'm really happy about that, and it's unfortunate that Knight got a nerf, but we made some adjustments to the deck, and it's pretty solid.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the first thing I'll ask here is it does have 4 legendary cards. So just for my free-to-play people at home, do you have any subs maybe for Ewiz and Bandit in this deck? Obviously, you kind of need the minor.
So the Ewiz is imperative, but I feel like you could sub it out to him for a Musketeer if you needed to, and then potentially subbing out the Bandit for a Battle Ram. But if you do that, then you would probably have to substitute out the Ice Golem for a Knight because you need another defensive card or a card that attacks because you would really only have Electro Wizard in that instance. It's a little bit iffy. If anything, I would sub out the Electro Wizard for a Musketeer and the Bandit for a Battle Ram. And then also, if you're subbing out the Bandit, then you would sub out the Ice Golem for a Knight. But this deck as is, it's pretty strong, and I really like the synergy of Electro Wizard and Ice Spirit in general because Ice Spirit plus Electro, it's going to kill minions, and it works really well against 3 Musketeers, and that's usually how you're able to beat all the 3 Musketeer and Lava Hound players.
Okay, awesome. I can't wait to get into these matchups. So we're going to cover like how to beat hard matchups. Before we do so, first off, guys, look at my screen right now. I know you can't see it, obviously, Tag, but I'm not able to play your first replay. What's up with that? Like, I have like a glitch where the second replay overlaps on the first replay. Anyway, this is
broke
weird.
the game.
You broke the game, dude. Oh, man. All right.
This is why
so
we can't have nice things.
Exactly, dude. This is not cool. Anyway, I hope that bait replay, your 6th win, wasn't good because we can't see it. Anyway, I'm going to play the Giant Double Prince while you just kind of talk about the deck in general first. What I wanted to ask you is Minor Poison, I feel like, is a really high skill cap deck. Meaning that it's, for a noob like me to pick it up, I have a difficult time kind of picking up Minor Poison and getting anywhere close to a 12 win, like for example in a Grand Challenge. So can you talk a little bit about the skill cap necessary for Minor Poison, and then how to kind of overcome the skill cap being pretty high for Minor Poison?
Yeah, so Minor Poison is probably one of the hardest decks, or if not the hardest deck in the game to play correctly. And the reason behind that is you're playing so many different units, and it's a control deck. So when you're making a lot of decisions in a game, all of your decisions have to be on point. So every Inferno Tower placement, every single subtle placement with the Skeletons, Ice Spirit, there's a lot of decisions that you have to continuously make throughout the game, and it's just it's a lot of pressure on you. And because you're dropping defensive units like an Inferno Tower, the placement is a lot more important than like for instance a Golem or a Giant, because the Golem and Giant, they walk up, they go towards the other side of the map, while the Inferno Tower stays. So you really need to be optimal placements with that. And the thing is, I always try to defend with the least amount of elixir possible, and you never really want to overcommit on defense, and you want to convert defense into offense with Minor Poison.
Okay, cool. And what would be the aside from those tips, which are great, is there any other, like, is it really just repetition that is the key to success with a high skill cap deck like this?
So it's repetition, but it's also working on the right things. So if you get frustrated and you make mistakes and you lose, which is going to happen with Minor Poison, it happened to me when I started to learn this deck. I was not good at it at all, and it took a long time, like 300k cards, for me to actually feel like, oh, I've like mastered this deck. The 300k cards was the point where it's like, all right, I know almost everything, and I can identify every single interaction that I make a mistake on. That was that time that I was really happy about it. But the thing is, when you make a mistake, you have to look at it and you have to be objective about it, and you have to realize, hey, I made a mistake. I'm going to improve it for the next game. So it's more so like making small milestones for yourself. So at the start, you got to be like, I'm going to learn every single proper Inferno Tower placement. Where's the most optimal Inferno Tower placement against Giant or Golem? And you're going to see me doing it every single time. That's the most optimal placement. You don't really want to
I see you dropping the Inferno really low.
Yeah, that's the lowest possible placement that will pull a Giant. So
nice.
It's really important.
Yeah. Okay, so
give me that split second that I need.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see that, you're so textbook in your plays. You know, I'm just watching the first replay right now while you're talking, and it's just like I don't know. You always see it's almost like a computer is playing this deck. So, you know, just my final question on learning the deck, right, is how do you practice against each when you're learning a new deck, right? Especially one like this with a high skill cap. Do you practice against all the difficult matchups and try to basically learn, or not the difficult, just every matchup, period, and try to learn against every archetype, like the correct moves?
Since you're a control deck, you really have to respond to your opponent. So you're going to have to learn each matchup pretty much individually. But the best thing about that is when you learn specific things like against Giant or Golem, I'm sure they'll transition really well over to other tank decks. For instance, against Giant Double Prince, it pretty much operates the exact same against Golem. So it's not like you're wasting your time learning one specific matchup. A lot of it will transition over. And the best thing about Minor Poison is when you learn defense properly with this deck, or if you learn it with Expo, when you transition over to other control decks or other decks like Logbait, you're going to have those fundamentals, and it's going to make you a much better player. So I can't advocate for learning this deck enough.
Okay, awesome. I suck at Minor Poison, so let me start out by, after this match is over, which is almost over, let me go into a live match. We'll start out with a little bit of live coaching. I'm sure I'll lose, and you can tell me what I did wrong, and then we can hop into like the pro plays that you made in your 12-win, most recent 12-win challenge. By the way, congrats on 700,000 challenge cards won, man. That's crazy.
Thanks, man. It was a total grind.
That is insane. I'll look at your profile right now. 709,000 cards won. Highest trophy 6,400. What a beast. 60,000 tournament cards. Holy moly, dude. All right, so I'm going to hop into a GC here with this deck. You ready to spectate me?
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, you can just maybe just give me some live coaching here.
Confetti?
Let me put my microphone on my face. I'm so close to the camera today. I don't know, it's so weird.
I'll throw you some papers, Ash.
Thanks. So,
Pressure's on.
I got kind of a crappy starting hand. I have Bandit and then both spells and Inferno Tower.
I would go Bandit, opposite lane of the Tombstone.
Okay. I leaked a little elixir not knowing what to do. Nothing new there. So I'm just going to log this.
Sounds good, man.
So I should
All
be
right, so
playing...
do you have Minor? He's probably running Lava Loon. All right, so you either want to drop Electro Ice Spirit or drop Inferno. Inferno is probably the best here. Yep. Awesome. You're going to have to draw the Mega Minion.
Cool.
So in this circumstance, he overcommitted there for sure, but you got to make sure that the Mega Minion doesn't get too many swipes. Mega Minion will get one swipe or two.
Crap. Should I have played the Ewiz there?
No, you should have just played the Ice Golem up a little bit further away to draw the Mega Minion towards it. That would have been a little bit more optimal. The Ewiz, you couldn't have played the Ewiz there. You really needed to hold your elixir. So go Bandit opposite lane. He dropped the Lava Hound.
So
probably going to Tombstone
I have Log kind of hovering here.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
gonna
best
use it.
not to.
Yeah.
You just need to go back to an Inferno pronto to kill that, and you're probably gonna have to poison as soon as that drops. He's gonna go in for a balloon soon. Yeah, so the Inferno was dropped one tile too far to the left.
Okay.
So you're probably gonna have to lecture that now. You're just gonna eat up too much.
Really?
Or I guess it already happened.
That wasn't too bad. Okay,
it wasn't too bad. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit the other lane. Was that too aggressive hitting the other lane?
No, that's perfect. That's a lot of damage for you. Just make sure you do not respond to those minions. You got to respond to this defense. You got to make sure that you don't take too much damage from the balloon.
Okay.
Inferno Tower worked really well in that instance. I can't believe he decided to go in.
Come on, Ewiz. Hit
no,
it.
It's not gonna work.
Damn.
Balloon hits.
All right.
So he's probably gonna be able to fireball cycle you now. It's gonna be 2 fireballs, 2 zaps if you want to. Nice.
I figured he would play guards there, but he didn't. So he's probably gonna take my. We're probably gonna tower trade here, but I'll do my best.
That's one of those things with poison. Whenever I go in for minor poison, I never really like going in for a poison preemptively. I'll go in for a poison preemptively if they have a tombstone there because it's guaranteed value. But for the most part against Lava Loon, it's not worth because you really need that poison on defense right now.
Yeah. So I mean, he's gonna take my tower, obviously, but we
that tower's gone.
Yeah.
So really your only way of winning this is like rushing right lane and then like it's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
You're going to have to poison on defense here. You got to make sure you take the tower, so drop a miner as soon as possible.
Oh boy.
Drop it in the front right corner. That's usually the spot that's the best.
Okay.
Front right corner
I
gets there a
already
little bit
dropped it.
faster.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, man, one swing away. All right, well, I made a lot of mistakes there. And he BM'd me.
Yeah.
What a jerk. So, good game. So maybe we can rewind. Maybe we can replay that, and you can tell me all my mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it, man.
It's kind of tough in real time. All right, let's go ahead and watch it.
That's the thing with minor poison. You just got to make decisions in the moment and then go after and watch the replay, and you'll get a lot better from it.
Yeah, so let's go ahead. Yeah, I find it kind of tricky to know like when to pressure the opposite lane and when to defend, especially against that matchup. I found it pretty challenging.
This matchup
But anyway,
is incredibly hard, so there's a lot of specific things that you have to do correctly to win it.
okay, let's play in 3, 2. Actually, I gotta share it.
You didn't share it.
Oh man, 2 videos in a row I've done this. Okay. Oh my god,
You done goof dash.
I done goofed, dude. All right, share. Well, this is a good time to tell everybody to subscribe to you on YouTube, obviously. Subscribe to SirTag. He puts out daily videos, great stuff. Make sure you check him out. The link will be in the description below. Let's watch this in 3, 2, 1. Play.
Awesome.
You did me wrong, Vlad.
So the difficult thing about this matchup is you're gonna have guards and tombstones. So it's very hard for your bandit to ever get through. But the big thing that you really want to be doing at the start is pressuring with bandit. So as soon as they drop the lava loon, then they're not able, or if they drop the lava hound in single elixir, you pressure with bandit opposite lane. They're not able to afford a balloon push. So you're going to be able to kill the lava hound with an inferno tower before they actually get anything accomplished with a huge lava hound balloon push.
Okay.
In double elixir, even if you pressure, a lot of times they'll still have enough elixir for a lava hound balloon. But that's one of the biggest things. So right here, yeah. The Inferno Tower is completely necessary. And notice where you dropped the Ice Golem. You could have dropped the Ice Golem up a little bit higher, and then the Mega Minion would have went towards the Inferno Tower.
Okay.
Or it would have went and walked a little bit longer, right? It wouldn't have had that direct distance towards your tower. And that's just like a very, very minute thing. But if you just drop it a little bit further away, you get less hits. And in the grand scheme of things, less hits, like 2 less Mega Minion hits, that's a huge interaction.
Mm-hmm. And this is the type of deck where you need to play like really solid defense. You can't take a lot of damage. Not like, obviously, certainly not like a big deck.
If you think about it, right, you're chipping away gradually on the tower. If you're giving away damage haphazardly, or if they just get a ton of damage in the moment, each time that happens, that's free damage. And you just can't do that because your damage is just so steady. You don't have that potential of taking a ton of damage on the tower.
Yeah. So here, what would you have done differently on that little exchange on the right?
It was legitimately just like the Inferno Tower placement. You need to drop it one more tile to the right, and because of that, you just sustained like 500 damage for no reason.
Okay.
And this is a phenomenal bandit. The one good thing about this minor poison deck compared to the other minor poison deck, it's a lot more lenient than the other one was. Because of that, you're able to bounce back and get some huge interaction or some huge connection with a bandit. If you get that huge connection with the bandit, then you just minor poison cycle for the rest of the game. But it was really just that Inferno Tower. Yeah.
I think right there too on that last exchange there, I think my big mistake was playing the Ice Spirit to the right instead of playing it on the balloon, I think.
Yeah, you need to make sure it hits the balloon every single time. So the ideal push is, or the ideal defense is, you want to go in for an Inferno Tower, you want to drop the poison on top of the balloon and the Lava Hound pups pop, and then you either drop E-Wiz or like the poison and Ice Spirit combination will finish it off. It's just, you just didn't have the deck, or you didn't have the correct sequence of cards in that situation. You didn't have the Ice Spirit right there. If you had the Ice Spirit, the balloon would have never really connected to the tower. Poison, Ice Spirit, and Inferno Tower, you're always going to defend that.
Yeah. So everything seems to be like okay with my gameplay, except for, like we said, the placement on a few things. Right?
Yeah, a few placements, and then obviously like that and poison at the end. The poison with the miner, the preemptive poison on the guards that weren't dropped. That's what lost you the game, because you didn't have poison in cycle to DPS down the Lava Hound pups. Then you would have been able to drop the E-Wiz right on top, and then the balloon doesn't even get death damage on your tower, and you win the game. So there were a few things like that would have definitely caused a dub for you.
So never use poison. Never use poison if the until I mean, how often do you play prediction poisons then? Because that was kind of a prediction poison, even though it didn't work.
So as I said before, right, you're just going for prediction poisons in that circumstance against Lava Loon if you're going to hit the tombstone as well, and that's the same thing that B-Rad does. That's what the top minor poison players do. You never really want to go in for poison unless you're like really sure that you can get away with it. So I'll get away with it in some circumstances, but you will not get away with it against a Lava Loon player if you're not getting value. They're just going to rush opposite lane and take the dub.
Okay, cool. All right, so does that apply to every deck then? When you say minor poison, if I hit the tombstone with a poison, it was okay. So basically, getting a little bit of guaranteed value. So can that also extend to like a goblin hut, for example? So if they have a goblin hut, I'll send in my miner, make sure the miner's like on the tower, but in between the goblin hut as well, and then drop the poison. That's a good play.
Yeah, that's usually a good play. It's dependent on the deck, though, right? If they're running graveyard, sometimes I won't go in for a poison. It's just dependent on their deck. For instance, Lava Loon, right? They're not going to be able to punish me, or they will punish me really hard. But a giant deck, sometimes I'll just go in for preemptive poisons because I feel very, very confident in my defense capabilities with an Electro Wizard, Ice Spirit, and Inferno Tower. There's no way that they're going to break through.
Okay.
So it's just dependent on your situation and the deck matchup that you want to do it.
Let's watch your 12 win here.
Right.
Against Calyx Droid. I'm at the beginning. I'll unpause or I'll press play in 3, 2, 1, go.
Sounds good.
Okay, so yeah, just kind of talk us through this matchup. What is an ideal or a correct starting play with this deck?
So the best starting play that you could possibly do is just cycle an Ice Spirit at the bridge. It gets you a little bit of chip damage, and then it's not really that big of a committal. I like cycling my Bandit in the back. That's something that most people don't do, but it's usually the best play. Another thing that a lot of people do wrong with this deck is dropping their Electro Wizard right on top of the pencil. You never really want to do that. Notice how the Barbarians are going to walk towards my Electro Wizard. My Electro Wizard is still going to survive. If you drop it right on top, then the Barbarians are going to be right on top of your Electro as you kill it. So
wow, and
your Electro Wizard's just going to die.
Wow, look what a great sequence that was.
Yeah.
The Ewiz survives and goes all the way to the tower.
This was a kind of a mediocre play that I had to drop an Ice Golem there. I wish I had dropped my Bandit a little bit earlier, so then it charged on top of the Dark Prince. So I did make a small interaction mistake there, and I would have been able to just get away with minimal less elixir. I wouldn't have had to drop an Ice Golem.
I noticed this guy's playing Magic Archer. Quickly, what are your thoughts on Magic Archer?
I think it's a really high skill cap card, and I don't think that we're going to figure out how great it is until someone is able to play it perfectly. So I think it's going to take like maybe another month before there's the best deck with Magic Archer and everyone plays it like phenomenally, or at least the top pro players will play it amazingly.
I agree. It seems underwhelming to me, but in a lot of ways. But however, I can't argue with the results because it's doing so well, Magic Archer, in the tournaments that I host every day. We always get at least one Magic Archer deck in the top 10, so it's definitely viable in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
So you get a poison.
Another
nice
thing,
poison
like
log here.
Yeah, as I said, right? Minor poison, a lot of times I'll be able to just get away with going in for a poison log, and I didn't even have to drop an Inferno Tower. In this circumstance, I felt very, very confident.
Look at that defense, man. Unbelievable. And you cycle all the way back to another Bandit.
Yeah, man. It's when you get the hang of minor poison, there's some interactions that you can just get away without dropping an Inferno Tower. And when you do that, then you're gonna have way more counter push potential. That's one of the biggest things with minor poison in general. If you're able to get away without dropping an Inferno Tower, say against a Hog Rider by dropping like an Electro Wizard Ice Spirit, Hog Rider gets 0 hits, and then you have the Electro Wizard to counter push. If you drop 5 Elixir in an Inferno Tower, that Inferno Tower is standing on your side of the map. It's not doing anything. That's another key concept in Clash Royale or just with minor poison in general. I don't like dropping my Inferno Tower, but in a lot of circumstances you have to.
Man, again, like such great defense here. You're taking a little bit of damage, but overall, that was a monster push, and you really just shut it down with this deck.
Yeah, so, man, it's incredible how solid Electro Wizard is on defense if you space everything out correctly.
Yeah, talk a little bit about when is a good time to send in Miner and when's not a good time to send in Miner. So I noticed that you're, I wouldn't say aggressive per se, but you definitely send him in like a good deal. So like when is the proper timing on sending in your Miner for some chip damage?
When you're up Elixir is usually the best situation, but the most common situation, that almost everyone knows is you defend with Electro Wizard, you defend with Bandit, you go in for a Miner. That's usually the situation that you want to be doing that with. And Electro Wizard pairs really, really well with Miner because it redirects the tower on top of the Miner, and it just works out really well. Also, the Bandit works really well with Miner because even at a sliver of HP, if that thing dashes on top of the tower, it's disgusting how much damage it can do.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, this is crazy, man. I'm eating up this gameplay here. So talk us through like what's going on in your head right now as you're playing. I'm sure it's like a lot of it's just reactive, but you know, are you just thinking defense only and sending in the miner anytime you get a positive trade, basically?
I knew that this game was pretty much over at this point. I was just going to go for a poison log and win the game. But yeah, usually I don't really... When you're in a situation that you're not confident in your ability to defend, just play safe, get further and further ahead with the miner chip damage. Don't play too aggressive. That's one of the biggest mistakes with miner poison players. If you play too aggressive once, all it takes is one push for a beatdown or golem player to take the dub. You have to gradually chip away, play really steady defense, and that's what I'm usually if you're asking what am I always concentrated on, first and foremost is defending, secondary is counter pushing, and as you get the hang of miner poison, you're going to realize, hey, I can actually go more aggressive in a lot of circumstances. Okay. So watching the game's over, you'll be able to identify that.
Okay, that's good. So when you're watching a replay, like let's say after a loss like we just did, are you, besides looking just for your mistakes that you made in that match, are you also looking for kind of missed opportunities in terms of, oh, I probably should have sent in the miner there? And how do you kind of identify that?
Yeah, so I definitely identify opportunities, missed opportunities. I identify those completely as a mistake as well. So
okay,
that's one of those things that I always look for. And I look at my elixir bar and I look at theirs and I look at their counters in hand and I determine, hey, I could have dropped a miner here. I could have dropped a bandit here. I don't know why I didn't do that in future circumstances. I guess I'll do that. Obviously, in single elixir, when you don't know their deck, you can't really make those assumptions like, oh, I should have dropped a miner. He didn't have anything to defend his princess in this situation. You can't know that because you don't know their hand. So you have to know like later on in the game and identify your mistakes or missed opportunities then.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Let's excuse me. Let's do the actually we're pretty long here, but I do want to watch another replay. So let's watch the one against Fabi.
Sounds good, man. This is my 11th win.
Yes, actually, you're going against another miner poison deck. That's cool.
Yeah, but he has Spear Goblin Hut, so it's a lot harder for me, right?
Okay, so let's play and talk about it. 3, 2, 1, play.
Sounds good.
And he has P.E.K.K.A. too. Okay, so this is going to be, yeah, interesting. So, so again, you know, you have Ice Spirit and Bandit. The two cards that you mentioned are ideal first plays. Other than that, are you basically just going to wait for them to make a move after you play that Ice Spirit or whatever?
So you can actually go for a miner on the tower if you feel very confident, but the thing that you never really want to do is you don't really want to cycle your Ice Golem. I don't like cycling my Ice Golem, and that's pretty much because I feel like you lose the game really fast if they have usually if they have Expo. In the other circumstance, if you're running like 2.9 miner poison, you never really want to cycle your Knight. And the reason because of that is like that's your big tank against the Expo. You want to go for poison and then log and have the Ice Golem or the Knight tanking for the Expo. So that's one of the cards that you don't really want to cycle. I don't like cycling my Electro Wizard because I feel like it's too big of a commitment. But Ice Spirit and Bandit, those are cards that you can always get away with cycling, and I feel like they provide some utility in almost every circumstance.
Let's talk a little bit about pumps. So if you're going against a Golem or a Three Musketeer deck, would you prefer poisoning or minering? Minering? I don't know if that's a verb there, but would you prefer using poison or miner against the pumps?
So if I'm down elixir or even elixir, a lot of times I'll go in for miner, but sometimes if it's in the same vicinity of the tower that I'm going for, sometimes I'll go for a miner on top of the tower and then poison the pump and tower, and sometimes it'll bait out units. Yeah. It's all dependent on the circumstance, but usually a good train of thought is you want to be the most efficient possible when you're down elixir. So whatever that means, like if you know that they have something to catch your miner, sometimes I don't even go in for the miner. Like if I know that they have like mini P.E.K.K.A. Ice Spirit in hand and they pump up and they're running a golem deck, you can bet that I'm not going to be dropping a miner. I'm just going to poison it. Poison is an even trade with pump, so it's usually a really good thing if you don't have anything else in hand. Like if you don't want to go in for a miner, because the miner, it's going to be basically a one elixir mini P.E.K.K.A. that he just got there, and then he got a free counter push. It's just not something that you want to deal with.
Yeah. And we saw your Bandit actually make contact with that tower. Pretty incredible. Bandit is so strong right now after that little buff she got.
I know, man. It's incredible. Little intricate changes can make a huge difference in this game. And that just shows you that It's sometimes in the grand scheme of things, you really have to just play test it. I didn't think it was going to be a big difference. I really didn't, but I was
Me
completely
neither.
wrong, and I'm happy.
It's pretty beast mode. And check that out, man. I can't believe how easy you make this look, man. It's crazy. Like 13 seconds left, and what do you know? His tower is down. Like it's almost like you even timed it perfectly. At the end of the match, his tower will be done. You know, and it's just a
Yeah.
combination of basically sending in that miner to do chip damage and getting value poisons when you can. Are you? I know you don't have one a replay available, but I am curious too about how to handle a siege matchup with this deck. So a mortar expo. What is your? I know you touched on it a little bit previously, but what is your tactic against an expo deck?
So I actually have a video on minor poison in general. I think it actually
Okay.
covers that specific matchup in general, or it shows a replay of it if you want to check that out.
That's
But
that's perfect. You know what, guys? We're ending this video. If you got nothing to do, go ahead and watch that video. I'll link it in the description below. So, Tagman, thanks again for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Always love having you on. I learned quite a lot, so thank you.
all right, no doubt, man. It was a pleasure coming on. Thanks, Ash.
No problem, dude. So, guys, again, check out Tag's information in the description below. Check out that video if you want to learn about Expo and other difficult matchups. Huge shout out to Tag for coming on again. Huge shout out to Brendan Chong, my YouTube partner. Check out his information in the description below. Guys, thanks so much for watching. And as always, take care, guys.